Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And today we continue our survey of Mendelssohn, video number 3 of, I don't know how many there will be. I don't know, maybe as many as 10. It's hard to tell, but we'll know when we get there. And no one's in a rush, are we? I mean, come on, isn't it all just fantastic stuff? And look at what we have to start with. Mercury Living Presence, Paul Paret, the Detroit Symphony. All this stuff has been boxed up separately in Paret boxes and big Mercury boxes, and I have them flying around here somewhere. But in any case, we've got A Midsummer Night's Dream, incidental music and overture. Really fast overture, 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Usually it takes 12 minutes or so. You might not think that's much of a difference, but when most of the music is going very fast anyway, that's fast. And it's exciting. And the Reformation Symphony, and the coupling is Haydn's 96th, The Miracle, which wasn't such a miracle, actually. It was 102 that had the miracle. The miracle was that a chandelier fell and no one got killed, but it actually happened during a different symphony. Never mind. Mercury Living Presence, zippy, wonderful performances. Oh, so much fun to enjoy. And more. Oh, yes. The Scottish and Italian symphonies with the Israel Phil and Leonard Bernstein. These are wonderful. Some of the great late Lenny performances. And, you know, there is, people talk about Bernstein. I always love to bring this up because it's so fascinating about how he was like emotionally sloppy and just, you know, he was vulgar. And there is no better evidence of his genius than the way he played in these late recordings, Mendelssohn and Schubert with the Concerto, because these are some of the most shapely, elegant, idiomatic, exciting, perfectly balanced, superbly voiced, thrilling versions of this music, and Schumann too, which is incredible with Vienna. You know, he was great, and he was great in the standard classical rep, and he gets very little credit for that. People talk about his Mahler, yes. Sometimes, if they're smart, they'll talk about his Haydn, which was better than anybody's. But the other stuff, he did it extraordinarily well. He was so reliable in this music. I saw him do these things live. They were marvelous. He never put a foot wrong in this music. There isn't a self-indulgent bar anywhere. It's all perfectly done, beautifully done. And these are live, taken from live performances. They're well recorded. And gosh, these are great Mendelssohn performances. Some of the best. They really are. Amazing. What we got here? Oh, the octet. And Romance sans parole with Ensemble Exploration under Raoul Roel Diltiens and Frank Browley, piano. Yeah, well, they're wonderful. Okay, so what is the whole thing on here? It's Harmonia Mundi, that I can tell you. You've got the octet and the Variation Concertante and the Romance sans parole for violin and cello. Album Blot, Opus 117 for piano, seul, alone. And what a lovely performance. Absolutely adorable. Yes, it's fine. And oh gosh, I mean, the octet is so gorgeous. And these are bubbly, lovely performances. Complete music for cello. Well, in our last video, we talked about the cello sonatas on Naxos. And here they are with Richard Lester and Susan Tomes, piano. The same stuff we just talked about. His music for cello and piano is really rewarding because it does not sound, as it sometimes can under certain other composers who shall remain nameless, like the cello and piano are playing separate works and they happen to crash into each other. No. Mendelssohn knew how to arrange the music so that the two intertwine harmoniously. This is lovely. It's on Hyperion. Helios, Hyperion's mid-price label, which probably no longer exists. Then we've got, the piano concertos and the Capriccio Brilliant with Rudolf Serkin. These are hot, hot, hot. Absolutely fantastic, among the best ever in this repertoire, with the Philadelphia and Columbia Symphony Orchestras under Eugene Ormandy. Yay! Of course, these are now in the Ormandy box. At least some of them are. I wonder if the Columbia Symphony one is. I can't remember. I remember the performances. I know what they sound like. I remember music. I don't remember couplings and organization and things like that. It's gotten so complicated because of all the issues and reissues and reissues and the way these things get parceled out. But it doesn't matter because Circuit is fantastic in that music. Then we've got Mendelssohn, the octet and the piano sextet. That's an early work. He wrote it when he was like 3 or something like that. With the Praja Quartet, the Kocian Quartet together, the octet, and other Czech people, Jaromír Klepacz and Jiří Hudek. This is Praga. And all this Czech stuff on Praga is just marvelous. It's first class. So, that is lovely disc of chamber stuff. Rafael Kubelik and Edith Matis with Bavarian Radio. These are Japanese DGs. I grabbed all these years ago when it was impossible to get them otherwise. Of course, this is now in the big Kubelik box, which, of course, is out of print. Of course. Midsummer Night's Dream and Weber Overtures, a classic disc. And wonderful performances of that stuff. Elijah! Open the door. Elijah's coming in, as we would say every Passover. We do that. I don't know if those of you who are not Jewish realize that during Passover, you take a cup of wine and you set it aside, and then the children open the door to let Elijah in to drink the cup of wine. And then you wake up the next morning, and somehow the wine has mysteriously disappeared. We wonder how that could have happened. Could our parents have had something to do with it? Or did the prophet Elijah really show up and guzzle down the wine? Who knows? Here's the oratorio, a superb performance featuring Gwyneth Jones, Janet Baker, Nikolai Gedda, Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau, and Simon Wolf as the youth. My goodness, this is terrific, with the new Philharmonia Orchestra and Chorus under Rafael Frubeck de Burgos. He needs a box. He needs a Warner box, and Warner's still around to do the Warner box. Do the Warner box. Come on, Warner, do the Frubeck de Burgos box. Well, this will be in it, and it's absolutely splendid. He was great at choral works, generally speaking. Then, the Italian Symphony and other goodies, and the octet. This is Pablo Casals with the Marlboro Festival stuff. We need a Pablo Casals box, a complete Pablo Casals box on Sony, and a Marlboro box. Oh, God, so many boxes we need. And we're never going to see them now, probably. I always say that, and then the next year they all show up. So who knows? And the octet with various Marlboro people who later became famous in various quartets. Jaime Laredo, Alexander Schneider, Sasha Schneider, Arnold Steinhardt. He was in the Guarneris or the Emersons or one of those. John Daly, Michael Tree, who was in Samuel Rhodes. They were all famous players. Leslie Parnas, David Sawyer, fabulous musicians all. And, of course, Casals, leading the Marlboro Festival Orchestra in a gloriously jolly Mendelssohn Italian symphony. So musical and effortless. I can't get enough of it. Then we've got the complete symphonies with Peter Maag, because he remade all the symphonies. Well, he didn't do all of them for Decca. It was just the Scottish. But here we have all of them with the Orchestra Sinfonica de Madrid under Peter Maag. Now, the Orchestra Sinfonica de Madrid was not exactly anything to write home about. They're not horrible, but they're not fabulous. And Peter Maag, this is his late stuff. He finally got to do all the Mendelssohns. They're very musical and unassuming performances. They're not the most magnetic, but they're nice. They're very nice and pleasant and enjoyable. And I'm glad that Arts Music got a chance to record these. He also did a Beethoven cycle for this same label. And again, that was with the Orchestra de Padova, Veneto or something. I don't know. The bottom line is he was a musician's musician, and his representation on disc isn't entirely typical of everything that he could do. But I'm happy that he did this, and I got it because it was Maag and it was Mendelssohn, and it was worth hearing for me, and I kept it, and I intend to keep keeping it. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.